Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not.
Like men who say it's not even worth speaking to Western women. Like it's not even like you exist. We just shouldn't even think of Western women as real because it's just too masculine, too career oriented. Why waste your time? Why have a headache involving yourself in that? And even then, we saw Rollo said something yesterday on Twitter saying that men should get vasectomies in their 20s just to prevent this, which I completely disagree with. I think that it's important to have family values and to prepare for eventual parenthood. But that's the cope that a lot of men have. Like, why raise a family in this scenario? Why risk having a child with somebody who's wanting to build an empire or wanting to be as famous as Rihanna when you could just play it safe and do the snip snip? But I disagree with him completely. I want to know what you think about that. Rollo, like the Godfather Red Pill, who's pretty much like created a lot of these ideologies, is saying like avoid having a family. I think that's complete cope. Like that's just that's when it becomes a black hole and really kind of black. Like
I think sad, I think given the marketplace that we're in, it's a reasonable strategy.
Avoid family.
Well, here's the thing. The upsides are great, but the downsides will absolutely demolish you. I mean, you can look at the Tradcons right now that's going through. I mean, look at Steven Crowder right now, bro. So it's like, and I think that's why so many guys are going abroad, because at least there, like, the women value family more than here. I mean, a lot of the girls here said, I want a family, but if you notice, like, the things that they're working on isn't necessarily to be a better mom. So I think one or two of you guys mentioned that, but not many of you. Most of you guys were prioritizing your career and your education, your own self-improvement, which is great. That's fantastic, but that's more of a masculine thing. Like, I'm all for families, man. I've always said it. The nuclear family is the backbone of any thriving society. However, when half the equation of having a nuclear family doesn't necessarily prioritize a nuclear family, as a man, you got to make some adaptations, because if you do make a nuclear family with someone that isn't as interested in making a nuclear family with you, and they're rewarded for leaving that nuclear family through divorce courts, alimony, etc. As a guy, you got to kind of reassess how you want to move. So I'm saying,
I want to hear Fresh and Fit's take on this. There's 15,000 men watching for the most part. Should men in their 20s get a vasectomy?
Personally, I would say, looking at it from a holistic standpoint, I get what Rollo's saying for the whole topic itself of being high value, because once again, if you get a woman pregnant that's not there for you, she could be against you, and it could turn into many different things. But personally, like I was saying earlier, for me, I do want a family. If I meet the right woman, I think is going to raise that child. But for most men, do they have I want to say, resources to find a woman that they want of their dreams, or even get the right woman? Probably not. So to be safe, vasectomy might be in their best interest.
So yes.
No, I'm saying, okay, so
it's a yes or no.
It depends on the individual. That's what I'm saying. So it's up to the man to decide for himself. But I'm just saying, generally for me, I think family is very important. But I understand why most men might not want that, because finding a woman that's actually good for you may be kind of hard. So I get
ducking a little bit.
In America specifically.
In America, yeah.
In America, to be specific.
What do you think?
And I think it's a sliding scale. The more successful the guy, the more money he has, the more he has to lose, the more of a vasectomy might be a good choice. But again, it depends on the guy. If the guy's not smashing at all, do you want to do that? And, obviously you can always undo the snip. So it really depends on the individual. And I think the two main variables are his success and how promiscuous he is with dealing with women. I think those two factors heavily influence the decision. It's going to change per person.
Right, but Rollo's take was that to be a high-value man, the top 3 steps: avoid family creation, get a vasectomy, and have a network. It's just like the generic male self-improvement stuff, but 2 of the top 3: get a vasectomy and avoid family creation. Do you agree?
Did he say avoid? I don't think he said avoid.
Word for word. Avoid family creation.
It's on Twitter.
Top 3 steps to become a high-value man.
Okay. I didn't see this tweet. I'll have to take a look at it. But, I mean, here's the thing. I think what he means by that is being the most, when he says high-value man, he's talking from the perspective of being able to be a playboy and get as many girls.
But why is that a priority over having a family? Like, why would that even be advice? Why would that be a male self-improvement advice? Be a playboy instead of raise a family?
Well,
we make fun of women all day for wanting to be girl boss queens and sleep around and have all this, and then you tell guys, be a playboy instead of raise a family. That's the same advice on the other side.
Because here's the thing: when you're a playboy, you're going to be better at raising the family. And the reason
But he's
for
saying
that,
avoid family creation.
well, he's saying to be a high value, he's talking from the frame, knowing Rollo, because I know him personally. He's talking from the frame of being a guy getting a lot of girls. And then if you decide you want to get a family down the road, you can always unsnip and then go ahead and go down the family route. But in today's day and age, I agree to a degree that you need to have sex with at least 50 girls as a guy. I've talked about that all the time. It's controversial. But the reason why I say that is because most women are more promiscuous than most guys. So if you're a dude and you're getting out here and dating girls and you get your pee-pee wet with the first girl, she could sell you a dream and you'll be like, oh, yeah, this is great. So guys got to get out there and be sexually experienced. So he's talking from the frame of, being attractive.
I think most guys out here are not going to be able to control their sexual urges. So he's saying as a...
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The quickest path to becoming a high-value man. Do not get married. Avoid family creation. Vasectomy in your 20s. Live consistently. Eliminate all sedations. Learn game and networking. Play to your strengths. Build wealth. Resist easing up on your focus. He's talking about increasing your value when you're young.
Becoming successful, yeah.
Becoming successful. Yeah.
Avoid family creation and get a vasectomy.
Yeah, because when you, because your value doesn't go up until you're built something, and that's typically going to be in your 30s.
So most guys,
that's what he's saying.
What do they focus on? Girls the whole time. He's saying at this point in your career, when you're on the way up, focus on things that are going to help you move forward in life and become successful.
And get a surgery done that prevents you from having children.
Yeah, but you can always reverse it.
That's not like a lot of the times that shit messes up. That's not something you could just hope that it's going to be okay.
Generally, most men can't control their urges. So what's going to happen is they're going to go fuck around and get somebody pregnant.
This is how you rise up the path to become high status, because you're eliminating all variables that can fuck you up.
Yeah, it's about
That's what he's saying.
Risk mitigation right there.
How many dudes do you know that could have made it to the NBA or could have been a star and an athlete or something that got some chick pregnant?
Yeah.
Like kids a lot of the times ruin dudes' futures because they have kids prematurely. So he's saying this is the path to becoming a high value man. And then once you become that guy,
reverse the vasectomy.
Reverse the vasectomy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's good advice?
And thirdly, the code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
I mean, that's good advice if your qualifications of a high value man is a guy with a big body count. But it might be I thought.
No. He's talking about increasing your value as a man. You're basically what he's doing is he's retard proofing it.
Yeah.
If you have vasectomy and you bust nuts at girls, you're not going to have a kid, so you're not going to fuck up your future when you're young and you're not in a position to raise that child. That's what he's saying.
We all know what is men's biggest weakness: women. And as a result, what happens is, what's another factor for not having success? Having a kid too early. That's reality.
That's the number one wealth killer, dude.
Yeah,
kids. If you really look at it. It's the number one wealth killer.
Now, once again, we support families.
Yeah, we do.
But at the same time, for what he's saying to become successful at a young age,
you can't say that you support families and also tell your audience to get a vasectomy.
We didn't say that. We just said
you're toting the fence about.
We're explaining why he said that.
Do you agree?
I understand why he said it.
You see how you're ducking? You see how you're ducking the question? It's a simple question.
It's on me. It's not about me. It's about the generational.
I'm asking your opinion.
No. Sneako, you're funny.
It's just a question.
No. No.
Bro, we make the girls on the panel answer questions specifically all the time. It's just, do you agree, yes or no?
Personally, my decision has nothing to do with this discussion. I'm just saying for you, bro.
Politician answer.
I understand why he's saying that.
Yeah, you see, your thing is he's talking about how to become a high value guy. That's good advice.
I have a follow-up question for
you're
the
eliminating fuck up bullshit, like shit that will fuck you up. Hey man, look man. You had that TradCon pill, bro.
So what's the alternative? Getting a vasectomy? Are we advocating towards getting a surgery which prevents you from having children? That's not even to compare that to birth control is insane. That surgery is not meant to be reversed. It's meant to be permanent. You didn't say put on a condom or be absent for a little bit. The red pill ideology is literally avoid family creation and get a dick surgery.
Sneako.
And you didn't even say no to that. You're like, well, maybe.
You have to understand context. What is the context? The context.
How to become a high-value man from the Red Pill Godfather.
Yes, but
when the quickest way to do it. That's important, dude. He said the quickest way to do it. Avoid family creation. Focus on making money. Go to the gym.
Get a vasectomy.
All the self-improvement stuff. Because a lot of guys, remember, dude, the average guy doesn't have much dick discipline. They'll get a girl pregnant when they're 18, 19, 20, 21. So if you get a vasectomy, what does it do? It makes it retard-proof. He's giving advice for the lowest common denominator. Quickest way to be a high-value guy for the lowest common denominator. That's the advice, dude. A lot of people will sit there. How many guys do you know that could have been stars that got a girl pregnant in high school?
Now, once again, context. This is not geared towards family. It's geared towards becoming successful in a high value light.
So who is the high value man? Who qualifies that? Because all the women in here, they just said that it's about ambition, it's about character, your personality. Is it you flexing for other guys? Who's qualifying? Like, who are you becoming high value for? Other dudes on the internet?
So ultimately, when you're done with that list, so to speak, and you're successful, you now are seen as a prize to women. So for example, yes, you could have a good personality, have good energy, good vibe. That's cool. But long term, becoming successful is going to be the key factor for most people. So he's just saying to get there faster, do these steps. Now, ultimately, like I said before, family-wise is not, I want to say, the best
And
way.
here's the other thing too, bro. I don't mean to call any of these ladies out, but for the man or for the woman.
It seems like the red pill ideology is that being successful is more important. It's not about attracting a woman. Like, what's more important for a man? What should a man's priority be? Having a family or being successful?
Being successful first every single time, because then you have the ability to choose. But
not anymore. Not if you get the vasectomy, then you can't have the family.
Dude, you can undo a vasectomy. Like, I don't know why you keep saying, like, you can undo a vasectomy.
It's that one
Sometimes.
point.
It's that one point that has you tripped out. Remember, dude,
but it says avoid family creation. Like, we
at
get
the beginning stages, bro. Dude, that's not a long-term. That's a short-term.
He said quickest way, which means short-term strategy to building your value up as quickly as possible. That's retard-proof. That's not going to get you in a jam.
I'm not saying that you should have a kid when you're extremely young, but I am saying that we should be focused on becoming good fathers too. Just like we make fun of girls for prioritizing their careers and wanting to be girl bosses and wanting to build an empire, they're not prioritizing motherhood immediately. And then we're saying, men, ignore family creation, get a vasectomy so you could focus on getting rich. And then you'll be 40, you'll have all these hoes and girls, and then start a family. Like, how are we building men to become good fathers if they've been only prioritizing success, if they have a dick surgery? How do they have the character that's going to lead a proper family?
So you're saying...
Because they dealt with a bunch of hoes first, so they know what a good woman is.
So you're saying us as men, when we're young, should have kids early, right?
No,
that's not what he said. I didn't say that.
But what's the priority then? Family or success?
It doesn't mean that you need to have kids young, but it shouldn't be avoid family creation in your head. That's an important thing to think about when you're young too. How am I going to have the character? How am I going to have the maturity, the responsibility to become a good father when I am ready to do it?
So what age should men have kids then?
I would say early 30s is probably ideal.
30s?
Yeah, I would say like early 30s, mid 30s.
See, you just proved that point. That list is for people in their 20s. Not their 30s.
Well, there you go. You have a vasectomy, you can't have kids in your early 30s. That's the point of the surgery.
No.
You can maybe reverse it, but you can't have, like, that's what that surgery is permanent.
So all my 20s, what should I be doing?
You should be working on your character. You should be working on your maturity. You should be getting closer to God. A lot of the things that we're praising the women for to become a good mother, that's important things for men to focus on too.
I work on character.
I didn't say be broke. It's equally important to work on your finances. Women aren't going to say that, of course. I'm telling guys, you should get rich as possible too. But you should also be working on, like, building your character and looking at how I'm going to raise my kids and how I'm going to be a good father. If you're 40 and you have all these hoes and you have experience with hoes, is that going to make you a better father? Probably not. You'll just know how to avoid a bad woman. But it's not, you don't need to fuck 100 women to realize what a hoe is. A hoe is a girl. You look at her Instagram, you know she's a hoe or not. You don't need to get all these women in order to understand that.
No, you don't.
Can I
Once again,
interject?
you need to be able to decipher from experience who's a hoe and who's not. We're just saying, look.
Do you think it's that hard to see who a hoe is?
Bro, come on. Really?
I feel overall men should have a self-control when they're in their early 20s. Yes, by nature, like, you're going to go be promiscuous and all of this, but you also can have if you're working to get closer to God, you will create a self-control within yourself to not be sexually, like, promiscuous and just having sex with everyone and get someone pregnant.
Future of the women. All these girls here are young. So what I'm saying is that as men, you need to acclimate to the new environment. Women prioritize money and success now more than family a lot of the times, and that's fine.
Okay.
So you got to acquiesce to that new normal.
Can I get a yes or no on this question?
Hold on real quick. Rollo's here in the chat. He says, a lot of presumption going on today. Getting a vasectomy doesn't have to mean banging random
Right, so
chicks.
he's advocating for a vasectomy. I want to hear a yes or no, at least. Myron, like, yes or no,
what?
should the men watching this get a vasectomy to become a high-value man in their 20s?
Again, I told you, it's a sliding scale on the male. If the guy makes money and he's promiscuous, having a vasectomy might be a good move for him. But if you're a dude, you're not smashing girls like that, or maybe you have a monogamous relationship, then maybe no. Just wear a condom. Don't be a retard. But it depends on the individual, man.
You don't have
Because
a hard stance on this?
No, you can't, because here's the thing with men. Men don't have the same sexual options that women do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a minority of men that are fucking all the girls. We know this. So you can't put the same set of rules on one set of guys as other guys, because other guys don't have the ability or the option to even get the girls.
I think it's equivalent to like having a stance on abortion. You can either be pro-life or pro-choice. You're pro-choice, for example, you're pro-choice. I'm pro-life. I don't think that people should think of abortion as a birth control option. Like, I think a vasectomy can be as hard as that. I think it's the equivalent. It's like an abortion for men. Stop ducking. Hard stance. Pro or con? Yes
I'm
or
going to
no?
give you this. As a man, you got to decide for yourself. Individual stance and goals will determine.
Advice for your audience. They really value. You guys are the number one men's self-help podcast in the world, right?
Yeah.
I think this is an important issue to have a stance on.
I'm going to ask you directly. So, audience, as a man, right, you have to decide for yourself, what do you want? Do you want a family or do you want to be successful? But ultimately, what leads to what? I'm just saying, personally speaking, if you're successful, you have a better chance of getting a better family. And at the same time, proving Rollo's point, vasectomies do help certain men because, once again, men are horny as fuck, bro. They want to fuck bitches. So once they fuck girls, what happens with, like you said earlier, plan Bs, because things do happen. So to avoid this mistake or things happening out of wedlock, you should actually get...
I think you're looking into the vasectomy way too much.
Yeah.
He's giving advice to make it retard-proof, bro.
Pretty much.
I understand that, but now I think we can go further, and I think our value system is different. I think that overall, in your life experience, the happiest state you're ever going to be in is with children, with grandchildren. I don't want to die. Like, I could be in my funeral bed and have a bunch of Lambos and watches around me, but that's not going to make me happy. I want to have my grandchildren there.
Okay.
That is the most important part of your legacy.
That's fair.
Do you agree with... What's more important to you?
No, I agree. Having a family is good for your legacy, 100%.
Is that the most important?
But how you get there is very important, because once again, if you're broke, you can't help your family. And what's the point of having a family? You pretty much, like, to me, personally speaking, if you can't afford to raise a family, there's no point having a family.
Sounds like...
Okay, well, let's say so let me ask you, so is it the vasectomy part that's throwing you off?
Really genuine good advice, right? The rest of it...
Is it the vasectomy part?
Yeah,
do you agree with pretty much everything else except for the vasectomy part?
The first three is weird, because then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family? Why be that rich? The guy who's always grinding. Whoa, Brandon Carter doesn't have to do his laundry. Sick. What else are you going to do with your life?
Right. Maybe this is actually meant so that you'll get it. You'll have a freaking epiphany about how all the shit that you have to sacrifice to get to that in the first place. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to live the kind of life, let's say, like a Brandon Carter is, where you're going to outsource your entire life? Or are you going to actually have kids? Is that something that's a priority for you? Because I will tell you right now that if you follow this kind, if you were to actually follow this list right here, that is the fastest way for you to get to a point where you are more high value, right? But here's the thing. So when I say that, people go, well, that's not what a high value man is. A high value man is what I define it as, which is he's got to have a good, loving, devoted wife. He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about. All of this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is. So what I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this is the only way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something like that.
We've been talking a lot for 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
It doesn't matter.
I what you're talking about. That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
It's like what grandpa is that? Telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your fucking tweet.
It doesn't matter what I say is a fucking high value man, because everybody takes this. The point of the fucking tweet is that everybody is going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a fucking high value man is.
What if a high value man is having 12 kids when you're 16? Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it also high value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
My point is that high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man. Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is these things.
What is that?
Okay. So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go one by one. Do you want to go one by one? Okay,
No,
so
I want to go before one by one. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your definition
point is. The very fact that you're even asking this in the first place is the actual point of the fucking tweet. Okay, so if you're going to be a high value man with the fucking hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point of the fucking tweet.
You guys, the point of the tweet was, you've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it. And now you've gotten blown the fuck up on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is fucking retarded. But you're too old and stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation.
I'm not too stubborn to fucking walk back from it, because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to fucking have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Douche nozzles?
Yes. You guys are fucking idiots. Why you guys come in here from fucking Twitch straight? Like, how you guys are legitimate in all of this? I don't know, because everything I've heard come out of you guys' mouth is just fucking confident ignorance.
Fatality.
There was a time when rules and guidelines were just considered a way to keep people under control or to keep order. During that time, people just decided to pick and choose what rules and guidelines worked for themselves. And then there were some that figured rules can be bent or broken. Those types of people turned out to be individuals, leaders, legends. It's not very hard to take a guideline and use what will work for you, what will benefit for you. Now, not every guideline is meant for everybody. Not every rule is necessarily meant for certain people or for everybody. There are rules for specific situations, and there's rules for all situations. The same thing with guidelines. But every day, they're usually bent or broken. I think the problem with people today having a hard time trying to discern what guidelines to use, what guidelines work for them, what guidelines should be followed, or should they even follow all the guidelines to be a certain way or to live a certain way, is people have a hard time trying to choose what will work for them without validation. One of the possible causes is everybody has gotten sucked into this click and follow trend, subscribe trend. We have clicked so many follow buttons that we practically decide to follow along whoever is making the content, not really thinking, are we actually being followers, individuals, or leaders of our own lives? And so what is really the problem? Why is society having a hard time deciding what to do, unlike it was? Now, funny story, back in the late 90s, mid 2000s, for those who couldn't decide on how to choose, how to make a choice, or who had a hard time comprehending something that was taught to them or told to them or shown to them, there were books specially designed for certain people or certain groups of people. And these books were as coined blank for dummies. Back then, you could be called a dummy or stupid or idiot without even consequences, because back then, we actually state how we felt or how people acted. And it was up to you to decide, should you reevaluate yourself or should you retaliate? But we made it known if you had a hard time comprehending.
You can't make me do anything like Chris.
Choice. The problem is choice.
Choice. Should I listen to this voice? Voice. I'm trying to make the right choice. Choice. Should I listen to this voice? Voice. My enemies ain't even on my level. Fuck 'em, I ain't even really gotta kill 'em. My enemies ain't even on my level. Fuck 'em, I ain't even really gotta kill 'em. My enemies ain't even on my level. Fuck 'em, I ain't even really gotta kill 'em. My enemies ain't even on my level. Devil, tell me, do I really gotta kill him? You gotta kill him. Straight kicking it. Sitting here with the devil that we're drinking while I'm thinking, is he really so iniquitous? Is Satan really what they portray him to be? Is the embodiment of wickedness? Y'all know how the system is. The media will twist shit like licorice. And what if the beginning was no different? Then the devil said, look, just stop and listen. I came here to give you a proposition. Kicking it is cool, but it's not my mission. You deserve more and I got a vision. I knew you in the womb like an obstetrician, when you didn't even have a pot to piss in. Now you're killing off all of the competition. competition. Soon you will crush all the opposition. And the devil kept talking to me, telling me that if I turn him down, then he will probably never quit stalking me, because he knew that I was perfect for the plan. As a person who could stand through the hell I get often, he told me he could remedy all the struggles that I go through. We produce synergy together. That's when he said to me that even though I don't need to, he killed my enemy. Choice, choice. Should I listen to this voice? Voice. I'm trying to make the right choice. Choice. Should I listen to this voice? Voice.
But you don't have to take my word for it.